Psychology and the way you think cannot only be the way in which you are collecting the experience and say, no, leave me alone. I will see for myself. This is the most stupid method that politicians have used. They've used the cognitive method. I mean, you look at South Africa, look at Zimbabwe, look at Zambia, look at Congo, Angola, Burundi, and the rest of the African countries. You see, Ghana is beaten. Kenya says, no, we will do it differently. You see, Kenya is beaten. Nigeria says, no, 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 no. They didn't do the democracy nicely. We will do it nicely. Nigeria is beaten. No, no, no. No, no, no. Senegal says, no, they did not understand this thing. We will convert the constitution and make it into French. We will get it right. Senegal is beaten. Burundi says, no, 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 no. You guys don't understand. You don't understand democracy. We will polish the system up. Burundi is beaten. Central Africa, no, 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 guys. You don't understand. We'll get it right. Beaten again, Tanzania. No, 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 no. You got, hey. Safa, sapela, isizwe, esimnyama. We die and we are slowly getting finished experimenting. Even South Africa. After you look into the whole of Africa falling apart in the hands of this system called democracy, you come around and say, no, no, no. We are going to come up with the best of the constitution. The best in the world. The most progressive of them all. Hey. Listen to the fool sitting on a tree. You cannot use the cognitive method of saying we are going to experience it ourselves. After you have experienced it yourself, South Africa is 25 years later. You are still struggling to spell the word democracy. Zimbabwe, 40 years later, still struggling to define the word democracy. Ghana, 60 years later, still struggling to define the word democracy. Nigeria, still struggling to define this concept which we constantly call democracy. Are you telling me that African leaders, with all the intelligence that they have, they cannot sit together on one table to discover that what they are trying to define does not work? Now, that takes knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom at a certain level that can begin to interpret and look at the worldview in the way in which we must start participating in the entire space. There's no way the African can always glorify the systems of the West and think that he can fine-tune and fine-tune. My favorite proverb, you can never put ribbons on the ears of a donkey and hope that it won't smell. The system is rotten. It's rotten. It will not work. It does not work. It has not worked for the Africans. You can take me to court and argue until the cows come home, but I have evidence of the last 8 years of the African child trying to define his politics through the European eyes, from our medicine to our clothes to our education to our politics. We are still struggling with the basic conditions of human survival. And we sit around in our big bogs, putting on some small little stupid ties, jackets and etc., walking up to parliaments thinking that we're going to be doing anything. There's nothing you're going to be doing in parliament except maintaining the European colonial system. Those who use, therefore, this method of learning, we call, I will learn from experience. There's nothing experience will teach you except to further destroy you. You'd rather be using experience to learn good things. You cannot experiment with the health of the people, the society. You cannot experiment with the youth and experiment with our children and hope that we'll get it right. The cognitive method, I call that the most stupid of all methods of learning. When research is the easiest, the cognitive method is the most stupid. I take you to number 8. I call that one the academic platform as a tool of thinking. Take note, the word I'm using, academic, I'm not using it in a regular fashion in which you understand it. I'm using the word academic in terms of disciplines. I'll explain what I mean by that. The academic tool, you take whatever information that you have to yourself and then take the fraternities, the divisions of academic qualification. Your history, your geography, your mathematics, your accounting, fashion design, crookery, agriculture, all the subjects that you are familiar with, even those that you are not familiar with. And then take the problem and surround the problem with these various academic platforms. And let each subject ask you the relevant question to the problem. Take me slowly, hear me slowly. In other words, you have a problem here. When you have a problem, corona is the problem. Yeah, good. Corona. We have a bacteria here called corona. Then we say, with corona in our hands, what is the mathematical question to corona? What is the economic question to corona? What is the geographical location of corona? What is the medical question to corona? What is the agricultural solution to corona? What is the cultural information asking corona? In other words, you allow your problem to be surrounded by various faculties of academics and let each faculty ask its own question to your problem. Whatever problem that you have, psychologically, what does it mean? Mathematically, what does it mean? Linguistically, what does it mean? Geographically, what? In other words, take all the fraternities of education that you have, put your problem at the center, and allow the various fields of academics to ask the relevant question to your problem. This is where I have a problem with our politics, because you gather around together as politicians and you don't want to hear what other fraternities are saying. You only want the political view, only the political view. Are you a Marxist? Yes. Because you're a Marxist, everything that you say, no, don't mess up, guys. You cannot build bridges with Marxism. You cannot heal diseases with Marxism. You cannot run academic institutions with Marxism. You cannot supply food on the table with Marxism. It's an ideology which needs to be translated into all various different fields of academic work. Using the academic method, therefore, a student, a farmer is able, a farmer of thought, when he's confronted with a challenge, marriage, good. Geographically, how does this speak to me? Where are we going to stay? Those are the geographical questions. Economically, am I going to afford this woman and her lifestyle? Those are economic questions. Politically, is she in the opposition party and I'm in the other opposition party? How are we going to live? Ideological marriage right there. Religion. Are we belonging to the same religion, same church, or same faith? How is it that going to pan out here? Fashion. Does she dress up the way? Does he dress up the way I want to? Allow the subjects of study to surround your issue so that in your conversation, you can be able to give an academic view of each and every one of these subjects that are surrounding your problems. This is where I say read wildly and widely, wildly and widely, so that when you are discussing a problem, you can become academic about it and say, as far as geography is concerned, okay, you want to do mining, for example, mining, beautiful. And the miners are only looking at the economic side of things. But you, because now you are a farmer of thought, you're going to be asking, what are the environmental impacts of this mining venture? What does it do to the ecology? What are we going to do with the rats and the birds and the fish that are in the dams that are going to be disturbed by this? And from a geography perspective, is this a wise economic decision to make? And when you are still talking, the politician says, but if I give this deal to the politician, we are going to make money. Says, but your politics is being undermined by the geographical location. Though it makes economic sense, it does not make geographical sense. I wonder if I'm making sense right there. This is where you balance up your thoughts using the academic method, that don't just make decisions based on economics, based on religion, based on geography, based on entertainment, based on one subject. Try as much as possible to include other academic faculties, other academic disciplines. I feel like a professor today. Academic disciplines, to have a conversation with your problem so that your solution can actually show that it has had a conversation with other fraternities. You don't make a selfish academic decision. You make a plural, multifaceted academic decision, having been informed by all other interested parties in your academic space. If you can hear that, show me some love and show me some thumbs up. Let me take a small little gulp of some energy. That moves us to method number 9. Number 9, which I would call the artistic tool. The artistic tool. The artistic tool is powerful. The artistic tool says whatever problem that you have, convert it into art. Right. Whatever problem that you have, convert your problem into art. Art is not limited. It could be music, crafts, woodwork, beadwork, any form of art. Take your problem and try to interpret it in an artistic form. Then you may begin actually to have some therapeutic conversation with your art that can show you other perspectives of how to deal with your problem. Because while you are shaping a piece of art, removing everything else that you don't need to remain with what you want, psychologically, you are able to start understanding how to remove the unwanted and remain with the functional. The artistic tool allows you to convert the invisible into the visible. It allows you to translate an idea into a practical thing that you can hold. So I do some painting, I do some arts, and I do some crafts because I'm dealing with the African problem. And while I'm dealing with it, I'm saying if the Zulu and the Xhosa cannot agree, but in my artwork, I can take the Zulu beads and put them together with the Xhosa bead, and I am able to look at them and admire them and see the unity in things that are divided and create my own source of peace in solving problems that I think are here with us. The greater African problem, as I'm talking to you right now, there's a project I'm working on, and I call it the African Union, the African Unity, United Kingdoms of Africa, where we are taking every country of Africa, trying to have some resemblance around it, and then join all those countries together. I want to make myself a huge necklace, and my good friend Moyo here, he came up with the idea, and I said, brilliant idea, let's work on this thing, working on something stunning, so that even what cannot be achieved politically, but artistically, it can be achieved. Art allows you to do what is impossible. But because you can imagine it and bring it forth, it gives you something you can hold in your hand. That actually becomes a solution to the problem. So in as much as they say it is impossible, but in your hands, it can be possible. You can, In some other psychological classes, for some of you who have done psychology at a high level, they may call this putting the picture board. It's not fantasizing. It's creating a picture of what you want to become. And if you constantly speak to that which you want to become, your mind and your body starts migrating towards that. So any problem that you have, make art out of it. If you and your wife are not talking to each other, then draw a picture of two people talking together. Write a play. Then the husband said, I don't want to talk to you. And the wife says, I don't want to talk to you also. Then the husband writes, please wake me up in the morning tomorrow. And then the wife writes, wake me up in the morning tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I must go to work. The wife then writes, okay, I will wake you up at 5 o'clock. Then 5 o'clock rings and the wife writes a message on a piece of paper and shows the husband, who is fast asleep. The husband wakes up at 6:30, fuming and screaming, why did you not wake me up at 5 o'clock? And the wife picks up a piece of paper and shows the husband and says, since we are not talking, the method that we are using, that's the one I used. The humor of it is that even if things cannot be dealt with at one level, at an artistic level, you can begin to have a more intelligent discussion. This is where I also believe in the concrete and this artistic one. I tend to play and work between those two frames quite often. And they get me excited. Then I want to, maybe for today, I'll rest somewhere there. Let me do a quick revision. Then tomorrow I'll do the last two methods, and we'll be concluding this section on thinking tools. A quick breakdown. Method number 1 is the interrogative method, asking the right questions. Method number 2, it becomes the dynamic method. Method number 3, the concrete method. Method number 4, philosophical quadrant. Method number 5, the comparative. Number 6, the inquiry. Number 7, the cognitive. Number 8, the academic. Number 9, the artistic. So far you have 9 tools that are in your box. You can use any one of them, either as an individual, or you can double them up, or you can plural them, or you can isolate them, or you can mix them up all together. But let's confuse them. And let us think. Let's confuse them with correct methods of thinking. That's what I had for you for today. Maponga J driving live from Johannesburg, South Africa, on your afternoon drive, discussing African politics, African science, African medicine, economics, culture, art, and tradition, and indigenous medicine issues, our fashion, and everything else between. The whole idea is to get the African people talking about the African problems and seeking for those critical African solutions. Until we meet you again here on your afternoon drive live with Maponga G. Wish you one, wish you all. Good afternoon one, good afternoon all. Till you see you tomorrow sometime, enjoy yourselves and have yourself a wonderful, wonderful afternoon.